Do you know that? Okay, this is controversial, but most of girls from 30 years old, 35 or something, they want to learn English so they can marry a person who from a Western standard in Asia. Vietnam especially tend to prefer lighter skins. So
Hi everyone, I'm Skye. Today we're going to talk with some local Vietnamese on what they really think of foreigners, especially Việt Kieux and Overseas Vietnamese. Before we continue, if you want to see more interviews of locals and foreigners in Vietnam, hit the subscribe button. Until then, let's get started. Hello, thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Dung, or you can call me Maya. That's my English name. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Dong Nai. I have been living in Saigon for nearly 6 years.
Hello everyone, my name is Don. My actual name is Don Nguyen. I'm also 23 years old. I'm her schoolmate.
So did you guys both meet in college?
Yeah, we both met in college.
Also the same majors. We have been studying together for 4 years. I have business development for a tech company.
Before I work at store selling wooden stuff to foreigners.
What do Vietnamese envy about foreigners or foreign countries?
Go back to why Vietnamese sometimes envy to the expat, to the foreigners. Vietnam is a third world country. Living in a first world country like America can be access to a lot of stuff. As a person who lived in Vietnam for 23 years, I feel like I would love to access to a lot of conveniences in US like Subway, Amazon. I think we have Shopee here, but personally I love Costco. We are still developing, right? But we hope that we can be more futuristic like the state.
I'm also a huge Costco fan as well.
I would like to have a member, would like to have the $1.50 combo.
The hot dog special?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the best.
Maybe the foreigner, they just live another country like more higher living standards. Maybe they also envy with Vietnamese like to be here, they can be really peaceful and they can feel the friendly of the people. We also envy people who live in another country. They have a higher living standards. They can access to more opportunities and they can benefit from better education. That would be more opportunity for them to be the best.
For the most part, it seems like people want what they don't have. Like foreigners, they move here because they're not from here, but Vietnamese, they want to move abroad just to try something different, I guess.
Yeah. It's like a trade-off, right?
What are some common stereotypes about foreigners that might lead to envy?
Let's talk about the outlook. The stereotype would be for the Vietnamese, especially not my Gen Z, below Gen Z a little bit, is like Gen Y and Gen X. The older people tends to envy a little bit of stereotype of the American is like they have blue eyes, yellow hair. In my generations, people think a little bit different. The stereotype when people think is like big McDonald's, fast food chain, Tesla, and Mr. Beat. The stereotype is like people think that the state people is, oh my god, a little bit obesity. I'm not shaming to everyone, but because they thought that the food in the state usually is highest processed foods.
It is.
People think that the people in the USA right now is a little bit chubby. Also, people think that most of Americans listen to raps and stuff like that. It's just a common stereotype. Nothing big deal, actually.
I mean, what they see on the media is, I guess, what people perceive, right?
About the beauty standard, Vietnamese, they really like the people who have a lighter skin. Also, they really like to have the strainer, bigger eye.
I just want to add a little bit that Caucasian people, that white people, no offense, no racism here, guys. Beauty standard in Asia, Vietnam especially, tend to prefer lighter skins. So Caucasians is a big plus. Also that girls in Vietnam, they kind of westernize a little bit. They like to have stronger body. Like we already know that Caucasian white girls and white boys, they have bigger structure, bone structure. So bigger body. Girls see the white girls as the role models to have the fitness. That is the stereotype. People think that white girl is a big, independent person, have a job. That's just stereotype.
Maybe I'm kind of envy about a stereotype. Like they can be independent when they was really young. Here also Vietnamese parents, they always just take care too much for their children. When children they just fall on the ground, foreign children they can do everything by themselves. When they really a baby.
People think that when a child reaches the age at 18, they can move out, live with independently. But Asian household mostly they have children live up till they got married.
What is the difference between a Viet Kieu and an overseas Vietnamese?
Việt Kiều is someone who can speak Vietnamese and English at the same time fluently. To me, Việt Kiều is like a Vietnamese who have an opportunity to go to the state and then they go there, work there, have citizenship there, and then go back to Vietnam to meet up. To me, you are a foreigner. A foreigner is like you. You are a Vietnamese, right? But you was born in the state and then you was raised up. So culture-wise, you have the USA culture, the Western culture. Việt Kiều has mix. I 100% that my uncles and all of my uncles doesn't have that Western culture. They still have the Vietnamese blood in themselves. Get back to your question is that they are two different type of people.
To clarify, a Viet Kieu was a Vietnamese that was born in Vietnam and they moved abroad, maybe to a Western country, and overseas Vietnamese like me, they were born in a different country.
That's true.
So I'm considered an overseas Vietnamese, correct?
Yep. To me, you look like overseas Vietnamese.
Okay. My experience being here, overall Vietnamese people are nice towards me, but I've had some incidents. I'm not stereotyping all Vietnamese girls, but I had some incidents where they're just like super catty and then maybe they're jealous of me. They'll ask me where I'm from. They'll just have beef with me. In my perspective, I just met you. I just can't relate to that like toxic jealousy or something.
Let's look at two sides of the story, right? Vietnamese, let me say they're kind.
But it's mostly Vietnamese women. Men, they're fine towards me.
Are kind. Vietnamese tend to be very curious about why are they so different than me, but we are the same. We are the Vietnamese. At your story, if positivity, she's being curious, so she want to deep dive to know more about you. I think she won't have any bad actions, but if we talk about the negativity, then she might be jealous of you for few things. Do you know that, okay, this is controversial, but you guys can trust me that most of girls from 30 years old, 35 or something, they want to learn English so they can marry a person who from a Western country. This is very controversial. So I met a lot, so this is only my view. To me that she view you as she's jealous of your English skills in the way that she want to have that English skill so she can open more opportunities. If you know English in Vietnam, you can literally open a lot of job opportunities, marriage opportunities. Don't skip on that. And because of that, go back to your story that yes, she might be jealous of your English skill and she just envy because why don't she have the same opportunities like yours right now?
But it's not just one. I've had like a handful of.
Yeah, that's just normal Karen people. We can see Karens from everywhere.
Oh, not just in America. Karens in Vietnam as well.
Sure.
Karens are universal. I was talking to my other friend and he was mentioning something about a foreigner card. Is there a foreigner card in Vietnam where Vietnamese view different races based on their skin type? Like how you said Vietnamese people, they prefer lighter skin tones. So do they judge people based on their light skin or dark skin?
I think that would be normal because Vietnamese they would be really friendly with foreigner. Not about the skin. Someone who wants to get to know Vietnamese, maybe it depends on their type. If they like people from Western, they will stick to the Western side. If someone they didn't like, not their type, like the black people or the Chinese or Asian people, not their type, maybe they still can not be interesting. It depends.
I want to do clarifications, guys. Vietnamese are very hospitality. We are very hospitable. That's why we are one of the top hospitality country in the world. That's for sure. Say the same idea with Maya is that we do prefer some type of people, right? To be clear that we are not racism. Sometimes if that skin type are not our favorite, we can make fun of them. In the end, no, there's no racism here. We just treat people a little bit different. The margin is not that big. If you tell me to rank tier, the ranking, so white people is the highest because we already know that beauty standard. Lighter skin, go back, down. We have India and color people. In the end, we would treat everyone very nice. We accept everyone, like I said, just preference.
May I ask, why do they treat darker skin tones differently? Is there a reason behind that, or like maybe past histories or something rooted?
Most of my experience, they don't treat color people like black or like maybe tan people like India. Don't treat them differently. However, their service will be toward a little bit of their priority. They will serve the white people first, then they will serve the colored people because I think that go back to the stereotype, but white people feel like they are very high end, so they are higher class. We feel them as a higher class, and we treat the colored Indians like us, the normal class, working class.
Okay.
This is my experience. People have different view. Don't judge me. So
Don't judge them. Don't give them any hate.
we love you guys, so just come.
How do you feel when overseas Vietnamese, such as myself, speak Vietnamese, but our Vietnamese isn't the best?
Actually fine to Vietnamese. Overseas Vietnamese, they also did not have many chance to practice the language in their country. But I still appreciate all the effort to study Vietnamese and just to love Vietnam so much. That's the reason why they just continue to study Vietnamese. But it's not about someone like who just in Vietnam and moved to another country lately, but they trying to behave like they really live there for a long time and they trying to speak Vietnamese in flow accent, and Vietnamese we don't like that.
Don't like what?
A Vietnamese like who was born here and until they come to another country to study, then they trying to behave and speak like they are not really fluent in Vietnamese.
What Maya said is a very deep part of the Vietnamese. If you say floor Vietnamese, that's fine. Guys, we know that Vietnamese is one of the easiest language to learn in writing, but not when you guys speaking. We will detect it immediately that if you speak floor Vietnamese, it's very easy. Vietnamese is very hard to speak. Easy to write, very hard to speak. Again, if you speak floor Vietnamese, that's normal. People will treat you different. Don't go to tourist trap. You get baited by high expensive, different prices. What she said is the Viet Kieu or something like that. They tend to like comparing to other things. They compare higher standard, higher living to lower the one. They said that they trying to say first world country is better. Because of that, they tend to trying to avoid saying good Vietnamese. That's because they want to promote themselves as higher tier that born raised in the state, and so that they can get the welcoming Vietnamese. People think that we will get higher tips and something like that. They want us, the Vietnamese, to have better customer to that person. That is a very deep topic, but I know that my English is very limited.
Your English is good. We're having a conversation. Can I say something? Every English-speaking Vietnamese that I've met here, they always say, "Oh, my Vietnamese isn't." I think that goes for most people who has English as their second language. But we can have a conversation in English. Your English is good. I can't have a conversation in Vietnamese. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but what I told you about very deepest part of this topic is that I experienced already, but it's so few that I can.
You don't want to judge them all. Sure.
Yeah.
So what you're saying from your experience, the Viet Kieux that come back here, they like to compare, but they try to show off and try to make themselves feel better.
They are. But my uncles, two of them, like to compare. It's really annoying, guys.
Yeah, it is. I understand. In your opinion, are Viet Kieux, are they considered more local or foreigners, and why?
The foreigner or the overseas Vietnamese, they will just recognize them about the appearance because many overseas Vietnamese, they live in another country, like they have a different lifestyle, different appearance. If I see an overseas Vietnamese there, I cannot just recognize them through their appearance. Maybe when they can speak a little Vietnamese, I just can like, you are Vietnamese, but you live in another country.
Sometimes they can be more local than the Việt Kiều. As Việt Kiều, what they're wearing is very obviously they wear polo and a short. For the boys, for the men's, and the girls like wearing skirt that is not oversized skirt for no reason. Maybe a tank top because I don't understand why.
You mean they dress Western, more revealing?
Western.
Sure.
More revealing, yeah, I want to say that. In my experience, I feel like the young foreigners come to Vietnam is more local than the old Việt Kiều. They learn how to ride motorcycle. They're willing to learn how to say curse word. And they willing to trying new exotic Vietnamese food. They know how to take a Grab. We all know that a person who's not born in Japan comes to Japan to dress as a Japanese. Kimono or something like that. Same go with here. People, if they willing to experience, to learn, they will be more local than some of the Vietnamese.
Some of the Viet Kieux, right?
Mostly Việt Kiều, but some of the Vietnamese. People here like to become Western people.
Going back to the topic, everyone wants what they can't have.
Yeah, it's the same with Việt Kiều because they're going to our country like Germany. They want to wear like the local, so they become their local. The other people come to Vietnam, become Vietnamese local.
Yeah.
Like you, obviously you are not Việt Kiều and you dress like a normal Vietnamese. So heck yeah.
This is Uniqlo, by the way.
Buy Uniqlo, guys. We love Uniqlo. My shirt is actually Uniqlo too. Try bún đậu mắm tầm, guys. If you try it, become local.
Anything else you'd like to share that we didn't talk about?
In the end, we treat people the same. If we hate you guys, then probably we hate everyone. It's the thing is that we Vietnamese make fun of ourselves that we are not racist toward a race, but we racist to everyone, including Vietnamese ourselves. Just come to Vietnam, explore and try. Be mindful though that we still a developed country.
Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have both of you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Bye bye.